Alright, peace and blessings to everyone out there. Welcome back to the Fake Woke Podcast. This is your boy BobbyVILN. I am back with another video. I'm here to talk about the Karmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf situation, okay? If you are not familiar with this situation, I am not surprised. It shouldn't really be getting the type of exposure that it's getting. I'm going to say that for sure, okay? But apparently the situation has grown legs. Now, what this situation is about two teenagers having a pissing match, a dick swinging match, right? But outer influence has turned this pissing match between two teenagers into a racially motivated incident when it should never been that in the first place, because everybody want to get clickbait, and we live in a time where you could damn near go viral off anything, especially something like this. So Karmelo Anthony, not the basketball player, a 17-year-old boy, native to Texas. I think he went to Centennial High School, and I forgot the name of Austin Metcalf's high school. Karmelo Anthony was on the opposing side during the track meet, okay, visiting a friend. And this is according to the police report and the witnesses that the police were talking to at the time. Karmelo Anthony was on the opposing side, visiting a friend underneath their tent. So he had somebody that he knew that was running for the opposing school. So he was over there talking to his friend, according to what the police report says. Okay? Austin Metcalf, 6'2". I think they say he was about 220 pounds, 230 pounds, something like that. Approached Karmelo Anthony, right? When he approached Karmelo Anthony, he told Karmelo, or he asked Karmelo, why are you over here on our side, basically? You need to leave. You shouldn't be over here. Not knowing that Karmelo Anthony actually knew somebody that was on their team. Karmelo sat there and said, touch me and see what's going to happen. I guess, judging by the police report, Austin Metcalf grabbed Karmelo by his backpack and moved him. Karmelo opened his backpack, put his hand inside, and said, punch me and see what's gonna happen. I guess they got into a shoving match, or Austin Metcalf shoved him. Austin Metcalf ended up getting stabbed in his chest one time where his heart was, or where his heart should be. Karmelo runs off, ditches the bag, ditches the knife. Austin Metcalf sits there and screams out, somebody get help. And I think he ends up collapsing on the ground. Mind you, it was raining. So that's also going to play a factor. But here's the thing, and here's the reason why I'm making this video. It's not necessarily because of the incident. I just gave you insight on what happened according to the police report, because there were 30 witnesses. The reason why I'm making this video is because people are using, like I said before, a pissing match between two teenagers gone wrong for racially motivated clicks. They're trying to turn this into a racially motivated incident. And the victim's father, Austin Metcalf's father, sat there and said that this incident is not racially motivated. But yet, you have the red whites, or which I like to call lily white conservatives, and then you got the conservatives, black conservatives, sitting there trying to blame this on black culture and sit there and try to say that black culture is inherently violent, going based off of our music. And then on the left side, you got black liberals sitting there saying that the boy got what he deserved and all of this other bullshit that comes along with their side. Two sides playing off the fact that they want this to be racially motivated just to get clicks. Now you got really white conservatives and the conservatives lobbying to get the defense fund for Karmelo Anthony disbanded off of GoFundMe or something like that, whatever it is. Apparently, Austin Metcalf end up, not him in particular, but Austin Metcalf ends up raising almost about $300,000, I think, for the funeral and whatever else, whatever other expenses, right? But you turn around and you look on the other side, Karmelo Anthony ends up raising about damn near the same amount for his defense attorney. So now you got lily white conservatives and conservatives sitting there calling for his fund to be disbanded or to be taken down. And like I said before, my problem is that people on the outside looking in is trying to make this into a racially motivated incident when it was never a racially motivated incident. It was never racially motivated. It had nothing to do with Karmelo Anthony being black. It had nothing to do with Austin Metcalf being white. You can go look at the police report yourself. You can go look at the police report yourself. And that's not even all of the facts. We still gotta wait for it to go to trial. Because again, there's 30 different witnesses according to what the police report, or something along the lines of that. Double-digit witnesses, bro. A couple of the witnesses was redacted before they sat there and they exposed the police report. And this is why people sit there and say you gotta wait for all of the facts to be released. You have to wait for all of the facts to be released. But people are so gun-ho on being the first to report on the story, they don't have all the facts. Or some people just want to be able to add their opinion without even mentioning any facts, and just want to blame one side as opposed to the other side blaming the other side, you know? It doesn't make any sense to sit there and try to blame this on black culture, or just black people in general, saying black people are inherently violent. Just look at their music, the bullshit rhetoric. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, I have sat there and said that black, or shall I say not black, but I've sat there and said that hip-hop culture is degenerate. I've sat there and I said it. I sat there and said that hip-hop culture is destructive. I've said that out of my own mouth. And my opinion really has not changed too much on that. But to try to blame this incident on that is completely disingenuous. It's completely disingenuous. And not all hip-hop culture is degenerate. Not all hip-hop culture is destructive. I'll make another video about that another time. But you can't sit there and say black culture as a whole is degenerate without sitting there and saying the same thing about quote-unquote American culture or white culture. We can sit there and we can talk about how American culture in the Hollywood films sat there and idolized and romanticized the myth of the Spartans. But truth be told, they were sexual degenerates, grooming children. If that's the case, if black culture is inherently violent, I could sit there and say white culture is inherently sexualized and degenerate. I could sit there and say American culture. I could sit there and say American culture is inherently violent. And we got the historical facts to prove that. And not only that, to prove that the quote-unquote white people wasn't washing their ass. That the quote-unquote white people or white culture were cannibals when they were first here. There's reports. There's reports of them digging up their own brethren and eating their brethren due to the fact that they don't know how to till to the land and grow food. I could keep going. Andrew Jackson got into a pissing match with another person. President Andrew Jackson got into a duel because somebody was talking ill of him in the newspaper. I forgot the other person's name. They had a duel. Andrew Jackson ends up getting shot, and he lived the rest of his life with a bullet fragment near his heart. The duel was supposed to be over because technically Andrew Jackson lost, and Andrew Jackson still ended up killing the other person, if I'm not mistaken. Alexander Hamilton ended up dying in a duel. Why? Because they was having a pissing match. That is violence based off of American culture. We can keep going. We can keep going. If black culture is inherently violent, if black people are inherently violent, then let's just sit there and say that all white people shoot up schools. White culture is based off of y'all shooting up schools. You can't sit there and say that bullshit and then turn around and don't mention the fact that your culture itself is surrounded by violence, degeneracy. That is disingenuous. With that being said, thank you for tapping into the Fake World Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share my content. That's all I have to say about the situation. Allow the facts to come out. Don't just try to be first. Allow the facts to come out, man. I'm done.